Hi, my name is Amy McGlensey, and I am the social emotional teacher at the elementary level.
My name is Jackie Santolupo. I am the district behavior analyst.
And we are excited today to have you join our video presentation of how to create your own learning space and schedule at home. So, like a lot of us, my family also scrambled to make any type of distance learning happen. It automatically in March became more of emergency learning. So, my own children, I would find them laying in their bed or on a couch or things like that. However, this year, with online being either your choice all year or just our temporary situation, it's really important to think about creating a designated space for your child within your home. And today we're going to talk a little bit about how to create that space, your schedule, and really how to have that conversation with your child to get them invested in virtual learning.
So the first thing we want to do is make sure that we are identifying areas that are specific for school. So you can either designate one area, or I like to always designate two different areas, one as their work area, one as their break area. This way we can kind of keep all the fun break things away from the instructional area, so then your student or your child is not as distracted when they're trying to do that schoolwork. Also, you really want to make sure that as much as possible, you're empowering your child to have a say in their designated school areas. So let them be a part of setting it up. If you're going out shopping for materials that you need, let them be a part of that decision making on what they want their area to look like and what they need. Now, kids are kids. Sometimes they don't always make the best decision, but it's always helping them and guiding them into what they may need for that space. So for a lot of our older kids, they might have a desk in their bedroom or something like that, somewhere where it's a little more private. It might be in an office that you have, but they're able to kind of work a little bit more independently. So it's nice to have that workspace, and then whatever break areas they typically have, if they play video games, on the couch somewhere, then that can be their break area. Younger kids really like to kind of be around mom and dad and get to see what's going on all the time. They love that action. So it's a lot easier also to put them into a place where it's like the dining room table or the kitchen, or even in an office that's close by. So you can also kind of pop in and check in on them. And then if they have any questions or need anything, you're right there and available when they need someone. So like I said, we kind of really want to look at designating out those two workspaces if needed. So the work area, we want to make sure that it's an area that is designated solely for work, solely for that schoolwork. So we want to make sure that there's not a lot of toys in that area, not a lot of like little things that your child can pick up and play with, or they can be distracted by. You want to make sure that it's an area where they have a seat, they can sit and pay attention to the computer or the iPad, whatever device that they're using in the moment. And we really want to make sure that it is one consistent space. So it is a space that's set up and designated solely for that schoolwork.
So one of the things that is important as you look at designing your space or looking at your area is really taking that time to invest in storage. This oftentimes minimizes your own child getting up to search for things. So how many times, does a teacher say, okay, everyone, let's check out our homework from last night, and the whole Zoom room scatters to try to find their homework. So when we invest in storage, we're really kind of minimizing that time that our child will get up from their area to search for things. So there's a lot of really great creative ideas using cubbies, plastic drawers, but most important, having all those materials just ready in your storage space. And then too, really organizing each space with folders or drawers or things that are important. And two, having things like passport codes where you have all of your teacher contact, all of your passwords, all of your Schoology information in one note card, index card, so it's available to log in to some of these systems. So also included when you think about your space design, and to minimize that time that students will get up and leave their area, is really having things like a snack box, some healthy choices throughout the day, or water or other things like that, that if they need a snack, they have something that they could grab in their area. I love to put a quiet stick or a quiet sign up. They could just be little stop signs on a stick, that in case somebody's walking by, little brother or sister, they know when they see the little stop sign that it's time to be a little more quiet in the house. Um, Things like sensory bins, having Play-Doh, putty, string, Legos, things that as they're listening to the lessons that are more of those fidget type of objects that can really help them. And we always say we want to fidget for focus, not fidget for fun. So we really want to spend time looking at things that won't be necessarily seen as toys, but really seen as things that could help them focus. Sitting in a chair sometimes can be difficult, and using different flexible seating like a yoga ball that they can sit on, something like that, to change up their area of seating. And also having their computer at eye level. We're oftentimes talking about our neck pain or our back pain, and really kind of either bolstering your child up if they need a book or two underneath them, or looking at the areas where their computer can be right at their eye height. The last thing to talk about is a Zenden. So they're called many different things: Zendens, calming corners, all different kind of cubbies. This is any space or a quiet corner in a room, and this one that we showed you on here is rather fancy, and we don't need to be that way, but it's something that's filled with things like comfortable blankets, pillows, a favorite stuffed animal, bean bags, just a perfect space for other learning things like independent reading or other non-traditional lessons. And really, when you're in your Zenden, limited electronics should be included. It's really the space that they can go that's a little more comfortable. I've seen parents use the landing of their steps, different corners of rooms, but really kind of a space where they can relax throughout their day.
So this one, we really want to look at making a set routine for your child and making sure that we stick to that as much as possible each day. So an example of a schedule might be wake up, get dressed, eat your breakfast, brush your teeth, and then go and get all of your materials needed and ready for school. You can make it however works best for your family, but once you start to make it and get into that routine, you want to minimize any changes to it as much as possible. This helps your child have some predictability in their morning, and then the first activity helps them get ready and get set up for the next activity. But no matter what your schedule is in the morning, you always want to really end with getting all of those needed materials out and ready for school. Even if, some individuals have time in the morning that they can do their whole morning routine, and then they can have a little bit of a break before they get ready and get started for school. You just want to make sure that last step is that they get everything prepared and ready to go.
And Jackie, I really like this too, especially the getting dressed piece, because I feel that that's a piece that we've all kind of, slacked on, the pajamas, the really kind of things like that. And for your child, thinking about if you're opting in the future to send your child back to school in person, how difficult without getting into a routine it's going to be when that time comes. So, as Jackie said, having that really good routine, especially getting dressed and things like that, when you go and it's time to transition back to school, then it's not necessarily one more difficult time you have in your morning, because you've already kind of created that while you're home.
And these little pieces really give each and every one of us some sense of tiny accomplishment in the morning, which is really nice to build on and to get that set up for the day. So getting dressed, you've accomplished something for the day. You've already done one thing right for the day. Eating breakfast, it's almost like checking things off of your list. And that just really helps you feel better and more prepared as you start your school day. So some of the things that I really like to use for all individuals are visual schedules. Now this will be something that as they're going through their morning routine or use during their schoolwork, it helps them kind of organize things in their head so they are able to see it and then also check things off as they go. A lot of times I hear parents say, and I've been guilty of it myself, saying, they don't really need that. It's not a big deal. I can just tell them what to do and we can move on. It is kind of nice, though, at the beginning, especially to have this all set up and ready to go, because if nothing else, it's just like a little checklist for them that I've completed this, I can move on to the next activity, and they get to kind of see the things ticking off of their list. So visual schedules should be clearly outline any expectations for your child. So anything that you want them to do for that morning routine or for getting their work ready, you want to clearly outline that on that schedule. It should also be completed prior to having your child earn any free time or preferred activities, anything like that. So what you want to make sure is that if you're asking them to check off all of those boxes, that they have to have them each checked off. They had to have completed each thing before they can have that fun time. And they should also be able to see that that activity or that task is complete. So either crossing it off, putting a check mark next to it, if you use icons, removing it and putting it somewhere else, or Xing it off on their schedule. So here's an example of a morning schedule and an afternoon schedule, and you could use a dry erase marker, so you could print a sheet out like this, put it in one of those sheet protectors or laminate it and get a dry erase marker and write on it each time, and then as your student or your child finishes the activity, you would just erase it. You could also just print out a new one each day on just a piece of paper, fill in what your child needs to complete in the morning, what they need to complete in the afternoon. And again, your child can either cross it off, X it off as they finish, or erase it. These are simple first then boards. As you can see, the first one is just the activity first that you want them to complete, and the then box should be what they're going to earn for it. So for example, if you said first get up out of bed, then you can earn some free time downstairs, or it could be first brush your teeth, then you can have free time. You want to make that very clear cut what they need to do for that first box, and then the then box is something that they get to choose on their own and they get to enjoy. You can also stretch this out. So the second box, it's a first, next, then. So you could do a first, get up, next, get dressed, then earn free time. And you can kind of continue to build on this as your child is more and more successful. So you could have a first, second, third, then box on there as well. This one is a task sheet that I use a lot more for older individuals, and this one you can really just write out, and I always encourage my students to write it out themselves. So you can either fill it in for your child, or if they're able to do it and they want to be a part of it, they can fill out the tasks that need to be completed on their checklist themselves with your guidance, of course. As they finish them, they can just put a little check mark next to it or a little X next to it so they can kind of see it ticking off. There's also directions right at the bottom in case you just needed a little bit of a cheat sheet on how to run it. Once all of these boxes are checked off, then they can earn a little break or some free time of their own. Something that can also be really helpful during that free time, especially for a lot of the younger kiddos, is setting timers just so they're aware of when that activity is going to be completed. And I always like to give a 2-minute warning when they're almost done, and a 1-minute warning when the timer is about to go off, so they can finish up whatever it is they're working on and get back to the task. You can reuse this then multiple times throughout the day. So you could do your whole morning routine, such as wake up, get out of bed, get dressed, brush your teeth, and then once they're all checked off, they earn a break. And then you could go into the school day of, get all materials out, sit at your computer, log in, and then attend to your math lesson, complete your math lesson. And once they're all checked off, they get to earn free time and then again, start over.
So one thing that we really encourage during this time, and it can be, like Jackie just explained, that was more of a reward time, but it is important to take breaks. Breaks are known to kind of decrease our stress, increase our productivity, and really boost our brain function. There's great, times throughout the day that you can exercise, take a walk, do some yoga. There's some great YouTube yoga sites. And a site we use often at school, which is also a free site that you can use, is gonoodle.com. And that's typically for our younger students, but they're fun dances. They're educational. They usually talk about either science or something along those lines, but really educational, but also get the kids moving.
And feel free also, if your child, they don't really want to get up and do yoga or play on Go Noodle or go for walks. They'd much rather just kind of sit and chill and watch TV or something. But you really want them to build in some of these movement breaks to get some of that energy out. Feel free to also put that on their visual schedule, so they have to check it off as an activity.
And one thing, we realize, and Jackie and I are taking some time making a bunch of videos for our parents as well. But one thing that we realize is that our virtual learning has been really difficult for some of our students. So as we end our day, or as our day closes, either at our dinner or, close, depending if you have a younger child at bedtime, really having that end of the day emotional checkout. These are just some examples of things that you can do. Some children are just really great at talking, and you don't need, a particular method. Other kids like to equate, their feelings with things like a weather report. What would I be? Making a scale of 1 to 10. If you were a song or a movie, what would you be? Highs and lows. Tell me one high, great thing, and then, tell me one thing that, did not go so well during that day. And one of my favorites is the rose, bud, and thorn. So, the best thing is your rose, something you look forward to is your bud, and the worst thing is your thorn. But really having that end of the day conversation with your child. As we know, socially, emotionally, that virtual learning has been a little difficult for some of our students. And we're really working to try to create that communication with yourself. So Jackie and I thank you very much for joining us for our short little mini presentation, and we hope to see you on another presentation soon.